Everyone. This is going to be our last general membership meeting this year. And so this becomes a perfect opportunity for me to thank each of you, our members, our city, our county partners, our friends in academia, our hardworking healthcare professionals, all of our elected officials, the Houston Airport System, Port of Houston, for making 2020 a success. As we close out 2020, no doubt, this has been a very challenging year for all of us, but we have a lot to be thankful for. We live in the best place in the world, bar none. We have a community that cares for one another and cares about keeping this place great. We have successful companies that provide excellent jobs, superior quality of life for the region, and we have award-winning schools educating our next generation. I mentioned our wonderful BAHEP members. United Airlines and Southwest Airlines are both key strategic partners and have been for many, many years. United and Southwest have been industry leaders and at the forefront of innovating new safety measures to keep the traveling public safe. This is going to be a very informative meeting today. And with that, Robbie, I want to thank you for your dedication this year, being the chair of the organization. You've done a lot of great work, spent a lot of time with us. I want to thank you for that. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you, Robbie.
Thank you, Bob. It's been a good year, and I've enjoyed my time here. But I'd like to start with my own set of thank yous. So many thanks to you and your staff, Bob. You guys have done a great job. It's been a tough year with the pandemic, and I appreciate everything everybody's done. And then I'd like to express some appreciation to Harriet for setting up these general memberships. She's done a great job doing that, and the whole team has as we've transitioned into this virtual world. So lots of good stuff going on. And to the membership as a whole, we appreciate everything you've done for the community this year. And thank you for tuning in here today. We've got two wonderful speakers that are going to join us today. And I'd like to introduce them one at a time. We'll have Mr. Rodney Cox will speak first. He's from United Airlines. Mr. Cox he's the vice president of United's hub here in Houston. He's a graduate of Metropolitan State College in Denver, Colorado, and with United has held positions in Denver, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. And I'm particularly happy now to say that after living in all of those, second-tier locations, he's come to Houston, Texas. So we're really happy to have Mr. Cox here with us in Houston. He's now responsible for the daily operations of United's second largest hub, Houston. And in that capacity, he has direct oversight of approximately 500 flight departures and arrivals per day. There's 3,500 employees, operation employees at the airport, and they all ensure the safe, comfortable, and on-time customer experience for more than 15 million of us here in Houston each year. And one thing I noted about Mr. Cox's bio is that he's held both operational and human resources positions throughout his career. And I think that's the right kind of touch we need in this time frame. The pandemic is a business problem, but it's also a people problem. And so I appreciate hearing Rodney's perspectives on flying safely. So with that, over to you, Mr. Cox.
Robbie, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to be here with you today and kind of share some of the things that we're doing here at United to make sure that we make all of our customers feel comfortable when they come back and start flying with us again. I know Quinny and I were just getting caught up on how life is different for us. I come to the office every day. I don't work from home. And so the challenges that I face every day at the airport and with our employees and trying to keep the customers safe and trying to keep our employees safe is different than what Quinny is spending and doing with her time, where she's kind of ready to get back out of the home, as we were sharing. And I'm sure she will share that with you. I would like to kind of talk a little bit today. We're going to start off with a quick video, just kind of talking about what our Clean Plus system is, our process looks like. And then what we're going to do behind that is we're going to follow up with kind of a slideshow. And the slideshow is actually going to give you a snapshots of what Bush Intercontinental Airport looks like today. So you could see what you would expect if you were going to come back and start flying with us. I know that our clientele is different today. A lot of our business travelers are not flying with us yet. And we have a lot of leisure markets that we're trying to adopt and adapt to, just to try to make customers feel comfortable. They can come back and go see their families and friends that they haven't seen in a long time. They may have been locked up and not seen their moms and dads and uncles and aunts and grandparents because of the COVID restrictions and the lockdowns across the country. So we will kind of run this video real quick, and then we'll come back in and we'll just kind of walk through our slideshow, and then we'll answer some questions afterwards. So it's important that we note that the airlines, although some may think that we are staunch competitors, we actually try to work together. We're not going to compete on safety across the industry. And so a lot of the things that we are learning together as a team, we are sharing with each other, whether it's the DARPA study that took place at the Department of Defense, or what happens with the HEPA filters on board the airplanes, things along those nature. We want to learn from each other and share, because we all want to make sure that we can take care of the customers. And so that's why when we talk about we're going to wear a mask, all employees and all customers are going to be required to wear a mask on all airlines across the industry, right? Because it makes so much sense. And so when we talk about this, and you saw our video, I think what we'd like to do now is just kind of take a field trip through IH, and some of the things you saw in the video, we'll now talk about and show you real live and what's going on. So as you can see in this particular picture, we have spaced everybody out 6 feet. They're wearing, you'll see it here quickly, sometimes gloves. They're always wearing masks. We got sneeze guards set up at all of the podiums so that there's not a chance for the particulates to really transfer through sneezes and talking. You'll see that all of my agents are having masks, and in some cases, they'll even wear, if they're not comfortable, they will put on a pair of gloves, just to make sure that we feel good, that we're protecting ourselves when you can't actually social distance, right? 6 feet apart is important, but when you really need to get shoulder to shoulder to work with the customer and help at the kiosk or look at their phone, we need to protect each other. And you'll see that we really are trying to do that well. We've rolled out touchless kiosk in over 200 of our airport locations, so that you can actually take your mobile device, you can walk in, you can check in at your kiosk in the lobby with your mobile device. You can print all of your bag tags. You can put your bag tags on your bags themselves and then drop them off at the second stage. And so it's important that when you're walking through the lobby, you'll see the signage, social distancing signage. You'll see all of the sneeze guards. You'll see people saying, please step away from each other if you can while you're waiting in the queues to get into a kiosk. We've also opened up curbside in Terminal C at the U-ramp drop-off departure area, where we can actually have 3 areas now where you can check in and check your bag before you even go inside the lobby, just to make sure that the lobby does not become overcrowded and that we aren't able to socially distance. And we're trying, we don't have curbside at Terminal E yet, but we're looking at opportunities to do that in Terminal E as well. But currently, all 3 lobbies are open: Terminal C, Terminal E, and Terminal B for United, and you can enter the property through any of those locations. Now, this is a picture of the TSA security. I'll have 2 or 3 of these pictures that we can look at, but all of our partners and service providers, agencies, TSA, CBP, concessionaires have all gone above and beyond to try to make sure that they are providing a safe environment for you as you're working your way through the TSA security checkpoint. You'll see that they have the plexiglass dividers up there as well. As you kind of divest of all of your bags and your suitcases, you're separated from the TSA. You have an opportunity to kind of keep some clearance there. As you continue to kind of work through, you'll find that there's sneeze guards all the way through. Here, Clear, our service providers, are back to work, and that functionality is available. And on the left, you'll see the TSA, and even our 4-legged friends and employees are hard at work screening with the providing the dogs to help with the expedited screening to help reduce the time that you need to stand in line. So all of these are just designed to kind of keep us moving. We also require that all employees at United Airlines get a temperature check when they come to work. The first thing they do when they walk through the door is that they have to go over and have their temperature taken to make sure that they do not have a fever. This checkpoint is Terminal E. If you've traveled recently, you will have seen this. These are flight crews, and in front of this gentleman, you'll see a ramp agent. They walk over, they get the temperature taken. If their temperature is good, we give them a sticker that says you're A-OK, and then they can go on through security and they can go to work. We have the same setup over in Terminal C so that we can keep our employees safe at all times. This also works to the benefit of all our customers, and it also keeps us from making sure that we are not getting customers and other employees sick and exposed. As you work on your way into the terminals and you hit the concourses, there's a couple things I wanted to show here. One, there's plenty of signage throughout the terminal. You'll see that on the right-hand side of this picture, reminding everybody about safety and hygiene and wearing a mask and social protocols, right? And then you'll also, as you look closely, you'll see everybody has a mask on in this picture, and it will be the same for all of these pictures that you see. You are required to wear a mask inside the airport, inside our airplanes, anytime. It's mandated, and you cannot travel if you don't wear a mask. And I'm sorry, we still have a lot of people who say, I'm not going to wear one. And we get into some pretty good heated discussions, but we just let people know if you want to travel with us, we want to make sure that you are protecting yourself and you're being respectful of everybody else. The other thing that I also want to show through these pictures here is that 70% of our concessions are now reopened. When we first got into this pandemic in February, the whole place, I mean, we're used to traveling and flying about 60,000 customers through IH on United Airplane metal a day. And we had to hit an all-time low of about 1,700 customers a day. And at that point, all the concessions were closing down. And they just couldn't afford to stay open. Now we hit a peak, a high number, Sunday after Thanksgiving last week of 24,000, and we're averaging 20,000 customers a day again who are now flying with us. And so the concessions are all starting to kind of come back and open back up, and with all the protective coverings that they need, the masks and the shields if necessary. That was a bartender that works at one of our concessions run by OTG On The Go. And you could tell he was pretty happy and ready to come back. And this is a really important picture for me. I think for a lot of you guys, if you have to have your Starbucks coffee, if you can't survive without it, I'm happy to tell you that we have 3 Starbucks concessions and 1 Dunkin' Donuts that never close. They're all open, and still we have several that have closed. We still have 3 open, and that's a godsend. And I got to tell you, the line gets pretty long in the morning on our mega bank in the morning. People waiting for their coffee, but again, you can see that we've set up queues. There's signage on the floor asking for social distancing. You'll see it on the right. You'll see a couple of my employees walking around upstairs. They actually work on the ramp downstairs, but they're wearing their mask upstairs, which is a requirement anytime they're going to be customer facing. So Starbucks is there when you're ready. We do a lot of electrostatic cleaning, and you've heard about us, how we do that on board the airplane on every RON and every turn at all of our hub locations and line stations. This picture is just important because I want to show the distinguishment here of the fact that we actually spray electrostatic spraying inside our terminals as well. And we have been doing that since this pandemic started in February. And we are currently on a program where we spray every square footage of customer facing and offices and hangars and break rooms downstairs every single night, every one of our terminals at IH. And that's the practice across the system for us. Now, PJS, which is our janitorial service provider, this is a picture of a couple of the ladies who actually are wearing shirts that just show that they are disinfectant specialists. And you'll see them walking around all of the ticket counters and the podiums, wiping things down and cleaning and spraying throughout the course of the day. On the right, you'll see a foot pedal hand sanitizer, foot operated hand sanitizer machine that are distributed throughout baggage service and through the terminals, because we recognize a lot of people don't want to put their hand on top of a pump and pump it. So you can hands-free opportunity here. When you get to the clubs, it's the same story. Sneeze guards, signage, requirements for masks to be worn, and the opportunity to get first-class service, but in a safe and caring sort of way. We actually have 2 clubs open at IH again now. We have the E Club and we have the C North Club, which just reopened about a week and a half ago. So 2 clubs are currently back and open. Here you get to the gates. I don't think we have a picture of the Polaris, but the Polaris Lounge, for those of you who like to the long travel Polaris product, is not reopened yet. It has not reopened. We're waiting for the business travelers in the market and the demand to come back for those long haul flyings. And then at some point, we'll get the Polaris Lounge reopened. When you get to the gate, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see our agents masked up. You're going to see signage. You're going to see a customer on the right who decided he wanted to be in our picture when I was walking around and taking pictures. And he's actually smiling underneath his mask. He was happy to participate. But this is the experience that you'll see when you actually show up at the gate. Again, plenty of signage for everybody. QR codes to let you learn a little bit more about the biometric boarding. You'll see the biometric screens on the right. We have a partnership with the HAZ Airport Authority here in Houston and the CBP, where we are now entering a phase of everybody will enter and board through these biometrics for international departures. The picture of your face is captured through the biometrics, and then when you come back into the country through the FIS and CBP area, they can match up the pictures, and you don't necessarily have the need for a hard copy of a passport when we fully bake the system. So we've just announced this system, and we're in the process of actually installing these at all international gates. But when you actually get to the boarding gate and you're ready to board the airplane, we won't even touch your boarding device. We won't touch your boarding pass. We won't touch your iPhone. You have the opportunity to do that yourself. 2 opportunities, one with paper and a phone, just what that process looks like. Of course, we're standing by and we're ready to help out whenever we can. When you actually get on board the airplane, this is what you're probably most familiar with. We've talked about our United Clean Plus product. We talked about how we have the enhanced cleaning of wiping down all of the tray tables and the window shades and the gas prevents above your seat and the screens and the trays. And then we also do the electrostatic spraying on board, as I mentioned, all of these airplanes every turn throughout the day. Of course, the HEPA filter is a huge benefit to all of our mainline airplanes. This actually cleans out and recirculates the air every 2 or 3 minutes on the airplane, all of the air in the cabin on the airplane within every 2 or 3 minutes through this HEPA filtration system, which actually filters out 99.97% of all particulates. So sitting on board that airplane is one of the healthiest places you can actually sit. And it's actually much safer than some of the places that you might walk in today into a grocery store or a quick corner store of some sort out there in the public. So a public area. So very clean environment for you to work in. As you actually walk on board the airplane, we'll hand you a wipe that you can use if you still want to do a little more cleaning, and we'll let you go in and hand wipe down your particular area around your seat. Of course, if you don't have a mask, as I mentioned before, we're going to offer you one, and then we're going to make sure that you're compliant. We love you guys, but this is so that we can be respectful of keeping everybody healthy. And so we're going to make sure that you have a mask if you haven't brought one of your own, that you must wear for the duration of the flight. And of course, as our world changes and we try to find the new normal and how we're going to do business, we need to be able to change with you. And so we've said goodbye to a lot of the change fees here in the domestic system because we need to make sure that we're giving you the flexibility that you may want to book a flight today and you may want to travel next week, but something could happen. You could see a spike. You could see the person you were going to go sick got sick, and you want to change your plans. And we want to make that easy for you moving forward. So we made a change to take care of you. And then my final slide before I turn it over to Quinny is just to let you know, hey, we're here. We're open for business. We welcome you back to United. We'd like to see you come back and fly with us again. We will provide you a world-class service, uniting the world and connecting all of our customers through IH. So thank you very much. Back to you, Robbie.
Thank you, Rodney. That was really informative, and I appreciated that very much. You guys have done a tremendous amount of work.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Quinny Jenkins. She's from Southwest Airlines, and at Southwest, she leads the National Strategic Relationships. Ms. Jenkins is a native of New Orleans, Louisiana, and after graduating from the University of Southern Mississippi, she began her career in Atlanta, Georgia. In Atlanta, she worked at the Shepherd Center and also at an Atlanta CBS affiliate TV station, WGCL. And Queenie later joined AirTran, where she was responsible for all internal communications, corporate volunteerism, and serving as a company spokesman. Ms. Jenkins' position at Southwest, she is responsible for establishing and strengthening national nonprofit and business relationships and communities served by Southwest Airlines. She is active in economic development as a director of the Georgia Chamber and an advisor to the Atlanta Chamber of Commerce and Usher's New Look. She has a passion to serve others, as shown in her commitments to multiple nonprofits. And there's a long list here. I'm going to read them because it's so important to all of us. Is March of Dimes, Hands on Atlanta, Habitat for Humanity, American Cancer Society, and the YWCA of Greater Atlanta. And her commitment has been recognized by multiple organizations, including being named a Superwoman by the Atlanta Tribune. So we're really honored to have Ms. Jenkins here today. She's clearly a person that cares about us as people, which is also important to helping us getting through this pandemic. And I look forward to hearing her thoughts from Southwest on the safety of air travel. So thank you, Queenie.
Thank you, Robbie. It's so amazing to be here with you guys. As Robbie shared, I actually live in Atlanta, but I've had the pleasure of inheriting the Houston market via a couple folks taking early retirement. So, so happy to learn more about what you guys have going on in Houston. And I definitely look forward to connecting with the folks at Bay Area, Houston Economic Partnership, and the rest of those in the community. So as Rodney shared, I'm looking forward to the days where we're traveling again for business so I can come out and meet all of you really soon. So I'll share with you that I participated in a 6-week series similar to this one with the Atlanta airport, and they were a huge success and ended with over 80% of the attendees sharing that the webinars had positively affected their decisions to travel. So I know I speak for myself as well as Rodney when I say that we hope today's sessions are helpful and have the same effect and leave all of you feeling confident about air travel going forward. We were lucky enough and appreciate the Houston community to have flown 8 million passengers last year. And I know most of you have heard that we've announced our plans to return to Bush early next year. So it's just a testament to how good the Houston market has been to us. And we can't wait to expand and serve both sides of Houston and to see all of you really soon on an upcoming flight. So again, thank you so much for having me here today to talk a little bit more about what we're doing to keep our customers safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. And Rodney is 100% correct. It's been so great to see the collaboration between our airline friends, the seminars that I did here in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. I was on the line every week with Delta, and it's just, there doesn't feel like any competition. We just, as Rodney said, we're sharing information and collaborating to make sure that we connect with our airports just to ensure the safety of our customers. And I think at Southwest Airlines, what we really want our customers to know is that we have their well-being in mind. And as such, we have made changes to our operations and procedures to better support both our employees, including our 4,000 plus employees at Houston Hobby, as well as our customers' comfort and safety. It's a part of what we're calling the Southwest Promise, and you'll learn more about that in the following video.
The promise of Southwest Airlines started on a napkin with a dream to make air travel affordable and enjoyable. And nearly 50 years later, we're building on a legacy of hospitality and safety with the Southwest Promise to you. As we travel together through a new chapter, we're making a promise to your comfort and our standard of cleaning on every journey with us. The Southwest Promise is our commitment you experience the benefit of around-the-clock cleaning and protocols and policies that help everyone maintain distance from the check-in experience to deplaning with that same level of Southwest hospitality. A big part of our promise is sharing with you before you travel that there's some things you need to know and things you need to do.
When you're ready to travel again, the first changes you'll likely notice are in our airport spaces before you get on board. We designed extra safeguards with your protection in mind. Even behind a mask, you'll still feel our warmth and friendliness. After all, we're a social airline, but we're all moving through a time when we know distance enhances safety and provides a sense of comfort for everyone. So in addition to cleaning our airport spaces throughout the day, we're modifying our boarding process for our people to welcome groups of 10 customers at a time, allowing more space for each person from the time you queue up until you're comfortably seated.
Our unique open seating allows people to spread out and sit where they want. As flights begin to carry more people, we won't be blocking middle seats, but we are limiting the number of customers on any flight. So if a family wants to sit together, they can, but there's still going to be enough open seats so that the middle seat can remain empty for distancing.
Our President Emeritus Colleen Barrett famously said, "You can hear a smile." And although our flight attendants will be wearing masks, they will still be sharing their warmth and their smile with a focus on the safety of everyone on board. For the time being, we're not providing beverage or snack service to limit close interactions, so you'll want to be prepared to eat in advance or simply bring those items with you for your next flight. Our crew will have extra sanitizing wipes on board for those of you who don't have your own. We've already removed most paper products from seat back pockets. When you've arrived, our flight attendants will also provide guidance to help maintain spacing during deplaning as we say farewell and invite you back for another flight soon.
We're placing an emphasis on standardizing cleanliness you should expect throughout every journey as part of our Southwest Promise. Every day, we spend between 6 to 7 hours on each aircraft, sanitizing every surface from the flight deck to the back galley, with added attention to tray tables, seat belts, armrests, buttons, lights, and overhead vents. We've also expanded electrostatic spraying across our entire fleet. It'll be used to sanitize every surface within the aircraft interior. We're doing our part, but everyone plays a role in the Southwest Promise. Before you arrive to the airport, you should download your mobile boarding pass and plan to arrive earlier. And we ask that you maintain spacing throughout the entire travel journey. We're on board with the medical and health experts shaping our work to protect all of us. We'll continue to look for ways to provide touch-free experiences, and more news on those enhancements will be shared in the next few weeks. The promise of travel brings the richest experiences that life can offer. Moments of meaning, deals that can define a company, vacations that can change lives. And when you're ready to fly, we're ready for you. We promise.
Thank you. So in addition to the protocols that were mentioned in the video, we are also requiring all of our employees to wear face coverings as well as have their temperature screened ahead of their shifts. Very similar to United and all the other airlines, fresh, clean air is introduced into the cabin every second, resulting in a complete exchange of cabin air every 2 to 3 minutes. And lastly, we are in constant contact with and following the guidance of the CDC, the WHO, and our government officials. And we've also retained our own medical professionals and infectious disease experts to help advise us during this pandemic, including Stanford University School of Medicine. So yes, the travel experience definitely looks a little different, but we promise that our customers can expect the same hospitality for which we've become known. And we cannot wait to see you guys on board. And with that, I'll toss it back to you, Bob.
Queenie, thanks a lot. Rodney, thank you. That's some great information. And it's really enlightening to know that you're not as much of a competitor as you were before this all started, and that you're working together, to make the flying republic safe. So we appreciate that. We have several questions here that were sent in, and we've got one directly at United and one at Southwest. So let me start with Southwest first. This is from Giant Ramakrishnan. He is a COO for Bashir Technologies. Question: I love the Southwest flight in November to the West Coast from Hobby Airport. Thank you. Given the pandemic, it's accelerating. Are you still going to start selling middle seats December 1st? I am scheduled to fly back on December 2nd. Queenie?
Yeah, thank you for that. So on my end, I'm frozen, but can you see me? Okay, there we are. I'm not frozen anymore. So thank you so much for that question. And I'll tell you, we began selling our middle seats again yesterday. Excuse the sunlight coming in here. And we feel pretty confident in doing that. We, as I shared earlier, have partnered with Stanford University's School of Medicine. And through that partnership, we're confident that the combination of masks, cleaning, and airflow and filtration make the cabin interior actually one of the safest indoor environments in the world. So through our research and learning what we have and partnering with Stanford, we feel pretty comfortable in selling our middle seats. And what we're really proud of is our flexible change practices and policies. So, we've always had no change fees. So our customers are still welcome to, if they don't feel comfortable, to call in and let us know, and we're happy to change those flights for them.
Queenie, thank you. Okay, yeah. Rodney, this is from Bill Bentley. He's a council member over at City of LaPorte. And it says, my girlfriend and I had planned to go to Hawaii last March, but canceled due to the pandemic. United generously extended the time frame for using our tickets until March 2021. My question is whether United anticipates a further extension of the window for using our tickets due to the present circumstances and travel restrictions to Hawaii.
Thanks for the question. I think that's going to depend a lot on what actually happens with the COVID spike in Hawaii. But what we have done is we have partnered in San Francisco with a service provider that will allow our customers to actually get tested and get a rapid test, two different types of tests, a rapid test at the airport in San Francisco before you hop on a flight to Hawaii. Or the second thing you can do is you can get a mail-in test and take a test ahead of time, which will allow you to determine if you have a positive test or negative COVID test, and then fly. And by taking the test and having a negative test, you can fly to Hawaii and you can bypass and not be required to be quarantined for 14 days. We're trying to do a number of those types of programs to allow people the flexibility to make sure that they can get tested, get the results in a timely fashion, and get on an airplane to meet the restrictions. So I would hope that we would extend for you, Bill, and so that you can actually get to Hawaii, because we want you to get there. But I think we're trying to put up some other programs in place to also help you to make sure that you can have a positive test. Yeah, I got to be careful how you say that. You want a positive test. You want a positive results back that it's a negative test so that you can actually get over there. We've expanded some of that testing here in Houston. We just announced it last week. And on December 7th will be the first opportunity where individuals who want to fly to a number of our Latin destinations out of Houston, who want to go into the Honduras, El Salvador, some of the Mexico, Belize locations, can actually request a test and get tested through ADL Laboratories in San Antonio. And the partnership that we have with ADL Labs should allow you to have the results back within 48 hours of the time that you take the test. And you have to have a test that shows you're negative on your test results within 72 hours to enter those locations. So once again, a partnership that says, hey, you can take the test, we'll get you a guarantee of getting the results back in a timely fashion so you can actually get on an airplane and into the country. Those are the types of things that we're trying to do to open up the borders, get the economy flowing, let people travel to where they want to travel to. We know there's pent-up demand. Quinny and I were talking before our talk today. A lot of people want to get out and they want to fly. They just need to have a way to get a test, make sure that they have the COVID documents needed to fly, and they need a market to fly to, right? And so if we can open up the borders and we can provide these opportunities, that's what we'll continue to try to do.
Thank you, Rodney. Great answer. I got a question here from John Powell, Mayor Pro Tem over at the city of Taylor Lake Village. And as I was watching your videos, both of y'all, I was thinking to myself, they didn't miss a thing. But this was not addressed. So this is going to be a great question. And Queenie, I'm going to get you to answer it first, and then I'll get Rodney to answer it second. What is being done to maintain social distancing when the airplane parks at the gate, when the flight arrives, and all the passengers jump up and jam into the aisle to get their luggage from the overhead bins? Queenie, you want to address that first?
I will address that. So I have had the pleasure of traveling throughout the system during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I got to tell you, people are always ready to get off the plane, right? So our flight attendants, we ask that each row wait for the row ahead of them to before they get up and grab their things. And I got to be completely honest and straightforward with you. Sometimes they wait, Bob, and sometimes they don't. And, you know, there's really not much that we can do about that. But that is also one of the reasons why we stress how important it is for all of our passengers to keep their masks on at all times to help just mitigate the spread. And again, we feel really good about our filtration systems and the airflow. And, you know, we try our best to ensure that our customers don't do that. But I got to be honest, I've seen it happen. I think that it doesn't happen as often as it used to, but we definitely ask each and every flight, every time we land, please wait for the row before you get up and start getting all your things out the overhead bins. But, you know, people are always in such a rush. So again, that's why it's so important to keep your mask on the entire time you're on the aircraft. And I bet Rodney would say something similar.
Hey, Queenie, you're absolutely correct. Ladies and gentlemen, it's really hard for us to predict human nature and behavior. We're trying to put health systems in place and safe working environments on these airplanes so that We don't have to try to manage the behavior because we can't. I mean, that's customers are going to do what they want to do. But what we also are doing is that we have modified our boarding process. And if you're used to flying on United, you know that we used to fly by groups, board the airplanes by groups 1, 2, 3. And what we're doing now is we've changed and modified the process. We're boarding the airplane from the rear of the airplane, 10 people, 2 or 3 rows at a time. And we've moved this forward and board the airplane from the rear to the front. When we get to our destination, we've asked everybody to remain seated, and we're going to deplane the airplane from the front. And we're going to take the first 3 or 4 rows first, and we've asked people to remain seated until those people are off the airplane. And then we will announce, well, I let rows pick a number 10 through 15 now deplane. And when they're off, we'll ask rows 15 through 20 to please deplane. And we're trying to modify the process that way to make sure that we can try to help manage the process. And so that's not a big rush. And the second thing we're doing today is that we've made a decision that to leave the filtration systems running through the HEPA filter 1 hour before we board and 1 hour after we deplane, after the airplane gets to the destination. That keeps the filtration running on board the airplane, recirculates the air every 2 or 3 minutes, as Quinny and I've talked about, continues to clean the particulates out of the air of the airplane. And we let those filtration systems continue to run until the airplane is completely downloaded.
Great answers. Thank y'all. Okay, Rodney, I put Queenie on the spot. Last question first. So I'm going to put you on the spot first this time. If the flight is crowded, 80% full, do you let people reschedule to another flight with no penalties?
Yes, we do. In fact, we will notify you 24 hours in advance if your flight looks like it's going to be 70% or fuller. So that if you feel like you don't want to be on an airplane that's 70% full, 80% full, 90% full, and there are flights like that in our system today, you can rebook to a different flight that's not quite as full at no cost to you.
Okay, Queenie.
So very similar to Rodney and United's policy. Yes, if you get to the airport and realize that, hey, you know what, I don't feel comfortable boarding this flight. I'd rather be on a flight that has fewer passengers, then we welcome you and we'll support you in getting off the aircraft, speaking to one of our customer service agents to have you rebooked at a flight that is less full at absolutely no charge to the customer. And again, like I said earlier, we don't have change fees and never have had change fees. So we feel like we've made it very easy and simple for our customers to do what makes them feel most comfortable.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Queenie, I'll let you answer this one first. This is from Bill MacArthur, president of the NASA Alumni League. He's got 2 questions. Will airlines at some point require the passengers to be vaccinated against COVID-19 at least until the herd immunity has been established? If so, how will the airlines verify the vaccinations?
Well, I don't think that is something that I can speak to. I don't want to speak to it either way, but if I had to guess, I would say that I don't know if we would be able to require passengers to have COVID vaccines. I think for right now, we would stick with the measures that we have in place. Like I said, masks at all times. All passengers over the age of 2 have to wear a mask at all times. We've discontinued our snack services, the air filtration system. Again, we feel really comfortable in everything that we've implemented to keep our passengers and employees safe. And I think that we will stick with those for the time being. Of course, if the CDC and the WHO and the medical personnel that we've hired to advise us during this pandemic, if those protocols and standards and rules come out and that's something that we have to follow, then we'll do so. But I think it's safe to say for right now, we're just depending on our medical experts and everything that we've done already to make sure that our passengers feel safe.
Thank you. More questions? Okay, Rodney.
Yeah, that is, Quinny's right. That is a huge human rights issue. And I don't know if we'll ever see a requirement, a mandate that everybody be vaccinated. I think that's probably going to become a personal decision by the public who wants to fly on airplanes, as well as employees, right? And so we're going to have to figure out a way to kind of work through that. We certainly want to be in a position where we make the vaccines available to all of our employees so that they could take one as essential workers at the airport. If they choose not to, that's their prerogative, but we want to make them available, and that would be a choice and a decision that we would work toward. We always highly recommend that you get a vaccine if you could, right? Keep everyone on the airplane safe. I think that's socially responsible. I think that's respectful of other people flying on the airplane. I think that's just good hygiene, right, if you will. And so I think we'll see as this unfolds, but we're probably a year away before we have enough vaccines in the US that everybody could have one that wants to have one, right? We're talking about, in a lot of these cases, 2 doses of vaccine to treatment through Pfizer for a full vaccine for a customer. So I think it's going to take us a while to get there, but I think we'll address those issues as we get more information.
Okay, Rodney, thank you. I am 100% confident that y'all have answered this question in either directly or in a roundabout way, but I'm still going to ask the question again, just to make sure that people hear it again. And that is, how do you protect your in-flight staff? Queenie, you want to take that first, or Rodney? It's up to y'all.
Go ahead.
Hey there. So I'll go real quick. I mentioned earlier that we have all of our employees screened before they start their shift, and we require that they wear a mask their entire shift, and we require again that all of our passengers wear a mask. So a lot of what we're doing, and I've tried to stress this every time I talk about this, our customers are very important to us. But our employees and our Southwest Airlines family and our cohorts, they come first. So everything that we're doing to protect our customers, trust me, we're also doing the same thing to protect our employees. They are top of mind for us. These procedures and standards that we've implemented is to keep them safe as well. So, there's a lot of controversy. I think Rodney mentioned it earlier around mask wearing. We've had incidents where people have gotten to the airport and, they decide, even though they know from beginning to end that masks are required on board, but we've had people to get to the airport and decide when they board our planes, they don't want to wear their mask anymore. And guess what? We're okay and feel confident in asking them to deplane because they're putting our flight attendants and our pilots at risk. So again, all of these things that we've implemented, they are to keep our customers safe, but they are absolutely to also keep our employees safe as well.
That's right. And just a couple things to add, a little more specific at United. Again, I mentioned all employees have to have a temperature check when they come to work. So if there's any indication that they could have an elevated temperature, which is one of the predominant type of symptoms, we won't let them work. We won't let them come into the airport and get on an airplane and expose others other crew members and family members who could actually become sick. We also give them a large quantity of gloves that they're able to have on board the airplane at all times. So if they want to wear gloves and they're picking up trash, because we do have an abbreviated service of kind of an economy bag with a water and a snack and things in it that we offer our customers on trips that are longer than 2 hours. And so if they want to wear the gloves as they're picking up the refuse and things on board the airplane, they can do that as well. And then I think the last thing we've said to our employees is, if you're not feeling well, if you think that you might be sick and you want to go get tested, stay home. We don't want you to come to work. We don't want you to get other people sick. Make sure that you're healthy. Make sure that when you are at home with your friends and relatives, that you're practicing good hygiene when you ask people to come into your homes. We just stress the whole process over and over again, but we want the employees to be safe. We can't afford to have them out sick. And we've had some that we've lost to the pandemic, and it's a tragedy. And we really hate to see that. And we don't want to see it anymore.
Okay. Thank you so much. We have a couple of questions that have come in from a couple of different people. The same question, believe it or not. And that is it possible for you to share, each one of y'all to share these videos? One city council member actually would like to share with his city council. Can y'all do that?
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, I mean, they're online. You can go get them off of YouTube. They're available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Same here. Yep. They're on YouTube and they're on our website. So readily available for anyone that wants to share them. And thank you for having the desire to share them with your constituents. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Great. So on a personal note, I want to thank United and Southwest Airlines for what you do for this Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership. Both of y'all provide us tickets every year to make our trips to Washington, D.C., to recruit companies here. And as a nonprofit, there's no way in the world we could be as successful as we are without the help of both of you. I sincerely mean that. We just could not do our job the right way without your support. So I want to thank both Southwest Airlines and United for doing that for us each and every year, and they have been doing it now for about 12 years. So thank you so much for that. And I also want to thank both of you for being with us today to talk to our members about the safety of flying. You did a great job, very informative, and I think you've convinced a few people to fly today.
That's great.
So with that, all right, well, thank you. With that, I want to say happy holidays again to all the members and to you as well, and have a safe holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. You do the same. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.